What is going on, guys? Hello there and welcome to another video. In this one we're going to be taking a look at Master Mode Titan 6, the second boss, the Scum and Villainy operation. This is a little bit of a step up in difficulty compared to Dash Road. Let's talk about our group composition first. Now it would be perfectly acceptable to bring two tanks to this fight, especially while you're learning it. Being able to tank swap to cycle cooldowns and trade taunts to avoid mechanics, all very useful. But having that slightly lower DPS is going to extend the length of your fight and extend the length of the burn phase at the end when there's significantly more damage for you to deal with. Having more DPS just makes this fight a little bit easier, and so I'm going to mark this down as a solo tank fight, and we'll talk about how to get over the mechanics in the next section. So with that in mind, 5 DPS lineup, you'll probably be bringing the same guys that you killed Dash Road with, but if your group does not have a damage with taunt, now would be the time to get one in. And we round off our group with our 2 healers. The first mechanic I want to talk about is actually a rollover mechanic from the veteran mode difficulty, and it's the 20-second buried debuff that gets applied to the boss's target after his kick ability. If you take 2 tanks, it's a simple tank swap mechanic, but a single tank can't stun break the debuff at every position, so you need to find a way to force the debuff on a non-tank, or get creative with class abilities to create a way to stun break more often. This is where your DWT would definitely come in handy, but there are other options as you'll see in the video. Time now for some actual master mode changes. Firstly, the boss now puts the big red huge grenade circle on 2 players, the tank, and 1 random. So in the pre-fight, you'll need to organize which direction people are going to run. And those huge grenades now destroy your hiding rocks if they're hit with the red circle. So isolating yourself from everything is important, including some of the environment potentially. Speaking of rocks, you're only allowed to have 1 person hiding behind each rock. If you try to squeeze in more than one person will get pushed out and will die. And in the burn phase, Titan 6 will throw a huge grenade on 1 random player periodically, which will need to be taken away from the group. I think that's probably more than enough talking. Let's see it in action. How about we try that again? The first order of business is a high threat opener, chaining a couple of taunts together. I don't want to lose threat when I move away with the red circle later. Right here is where Titan 6 does his kick ability for the first time and applies the debuff, and I use my regular stun break to free myself, removing the debuff in the process.
Defense sequence 2.
This airstrike cast is the trigger for the small red circles to appear. Some will appear on the ground, some will be attached to players. They all needed to be avoided where possible. Up next are the 2 huge grenades. We've already pre-arranged that I'm going to go to the right, and whoever gets the other one is going to go to the left. And we're both going to use a defensive cooldown when the grenade explodes. Rather than jump back to the boss now, my preference is to look for a rock close to his landing position, get myself sheltered from the launch wave, and prepare myself for the next phase. The wave of ads that are about to spawn will all be brought to the boss for me to AoE taunt, and the DPS will do their thing, killing them off as quickly as they can. And we're approaching the point where the boss is about to do his kick ability for the second time. Your stun breaker is still on cooldown, and this is where your alternate strategy for getting around that needs to come into play. In the footage you're watching, I've taken efficient tools at level 73 in the Vanguard ability tree, which gives me an additional stun break tied into my adrenaline rush ability. So when I see I have the debuff, I pop my adrenaline rush and that breaks me free. Another way to get around it would be a DWT taunting before he does the kick, and then taking the debuff for the tank to taunt back afterwards. A shadow could stealth out, forcing the threat and the ability on somebody else. And there may even be a couple of other sneaky ways you could pull this off. Completely up to you. If you find one that I haven't mentioned, please comment below and so other people can learn. Everything you see now is a repeat of phase 1, so I'll let the footage roll for a little while. The stun break will be off of cooldown for when the boss does the third kick, so that's how I'm going to deal with that. I'll catch up with you a little bit closer to burn.
Initiate defense sequence 3. Initiate defense sequence 5.
It's a race.
Initiate defense sequence 2.
And here we have our first death of the pull. A little bit of a mystery, this one, at the time, and still is, to be honest with you. My teammate goes into this AoE phase at 100% health, and from that point it's not meant to be deadly. The boss is obviously a colossal structure with a large hitbox. It could be he just drifted into that and got hit by something he shouldn't have done. Could have been a little bit of lag or a bit of desync, or just bad luck. Sometimes it happens. Regardless of that, we've taken the boss below 20% and hit the burn, and we've done it in the third position, and that is the benefit of carrying that extra DPS. Just a question now of churning through the last remaining HP and taking the red grenade away from the group. And this bit can be quite healing intensive, so should be using as many cooldowns as you can spare. And this death does have an explanation. Quite simply, just got caught in a red circle.
Power levels at 0.
And there we have it, another boss taken care of. I hope you found the video entertaining and informative. Feel free to leave comments below and like and share it with your communities. All that's left for me is to wish you good hunting, and I shall see you in another video soon. I'm out.